You know, in professional wrestling, companies, promotions, they create championships, they deactivate championships, they reactivate championships, and then they just abandon them altogether without no reason. And the big, well, I guess you can call them, well, I guess you could say the big dog in the yard, the WWE, has done this on numerous occasions. WCW in its existence and ECW in its existence have done this on numerous occasions. Heck, even TNA has done this. And Ring of Honor is no different. But speaking of Ring of Honor, you can see the title above here, right up here, where I'm pointing, or down here. It seems that Ring of Honor has decided to throw their name into the ring as far as promotions creating new championships in 2016. Yeah. Now, we know that TNA had the King of the Mountain Championship. The King of the Mountain Championship, I guess, was reinstated last year, or around, was reactivated. Well, it was still active in a sense, but it was kind of like in a situation. Basically, the King of the Mountain Championship was the television championship. It was deactivated, then reactivated as the King of the Mountain Championship. Now, with that said, TNA decided that they're going to finally, Billy Corgan being the president, decided to finally deactivate the King of the Mountain Championship once and for all, and instead of using the same championship belt as they'd done before, decided, you know what, we need to start over. We need a championship that's going to establish the fact that we're starting over, we're going in a newer direction, we're leaving the past behind, and thus he introduced the Impact Global Championship, or the Impact Global Championship, which is a championship defended in a unique format, basically similar to MMA and some of the European wrestling promotions. They would go by rounds and judges' decisions. Well, the rounds come basically from both sides, MMA and UK wrestling. The judging mostly comes from UFC, so it's a hybrid of an MMA style like wrestling match. And no, the guys don't do MMA like moves, they just do regular wrestling matches, but it's decided, but it's separated in different, by rounds. So it's treated more like an actual sport within sports entertainment. It's got that hybrid feel. But with that said, something came into existence thanks to Ring of Honor. And again, the title above and below pretty much states what it is. Ring of Honor, in case you're a big ROH fan, a hardcore Mark fan, hardcore indie fan, whatever you want to call it, Ring of Honor has decided to create a new championship. And no, it's not a singles championship. And no, it's not a secondary tag team championship. Instead, it's a 6-man tag team championship. Yeah. That's exactly what they're doing. In case you guys don't know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you ROH fans do know, Ring of Honor has decided, I guess through Sinclair Broadcasting, and because of the joint partnership with New Japan, and I think CMLL in Mexico, I'm not really sure who they're affiliated with down there, or even some kind of affiliation with AAA, they have decided to create a championship that we have not seen in any major wrestling promotion in a long time. That being World 6-Man Tag Team titles. Now what's unique about this is the fact that of all 3 major promotions, Ring of Honor is the one that's doing this. And Ring of Honor is the one company, the one promotion that you would think, despite its partnership with New Japan, despite the fact that, I think Jason Solomon of the Solomonster podcast mentioned it, despite the fact that they got a roster right now that sort of depends mostly on Japan talent, but is slowly growing back to what it was, wants to establish a 6-man tag team division. And my question to this is, Well, it's the same question everybody else has when WWE creates championships. My question is, why? Why, of all championship titles you want to create, do you want to create a six-man tag team championship? I mean, you pretty much have a hot commodity or an up-and-coming established hot commodity that fans want to see with the Women of Honor, the WOH division, your women's division, your Women of Honor division. You pretty much have that established to where fans want to see the Women of Honor have a championship. In fact, Kevin Kelly, if you're watching, you pretty much brought this up when you made the announcement of the six-man tag team titles. They'd rather have a women's championship in Ring of Honor, a WOH championship, and then a six-man tag team championship. And pretty much a lot of critics are going to come out about this, if not already, saying that this is not the best idea. Because basically what Ring of Honor is going to do is they're going to make they're going to depend a lot on the Japan, if not Mexican talent or international talent they have come in once in a while on occasions to help fulfill this tournament, to make this tournament a reality. Now, I'm not saying they don't have some established Ring of Honor names and some established indie names here that are here stateside and in places like Canada, coming in to help fill the void. I'm not saying they don't, they do. But the thing is, what you're doing here is not the best timing. What you're doing here is not the best idea at this time, I should say. I mean, a six-man tag team title sounds great. If you're WWE, they've got they used to have several factions and all that, but they have a big enough roster on both ends of the spectrum, Raw and SmackDown and NXT, to where they can actually make a six-man tag team title for either one of those brands, and it would work. It would. It would give more of those superstars opportunity to shine. You give them something more to thrive for. Ring of Honor, with all due respect, you guys are a great company. I watched you when you were on Destination America. I keep up with you as much as I can because you are basically the ECW of this generation. Without with the exception of you don't have the violence that ECW had, but still. You are the ECW of this generation, and like I said, pending without any violence being around. But the thing is, even ECW in its existence realized it didn't have that big of a roster that would warrant the creation of a multi-man championship. So I have no idea why you're doing this. I mean, I can understand you got Cody Rhodes coming in, possibly. He's got this kind of deal where he's going to go back and forth between TNA and Ring of Honor. That's fine. But you got Cody Rhodes coming in. What are you going to do? Team him up with the Bullet Club? With the Young Bucks so they can go after him? Are you going to bring him in so he can team up with somebody else? No. No, you don't do that. I mean, if you're going to focus on Cody being a big deal for your company, as I think TNA is going to focus with theirs, you want to basically establish the fact that this guy is a big time deal, and you're not just bringing him in to Ring of Honor at Final Battle to be part of a six-man tag team. It wouldn't make any sense. I mean, again, to me, the idea that Ring of Honor has here of doing a six-man tag team championship is ludicrous. To coin a phrase or use a name. To coin a phrase or use a word or even a name. It's ludicrous because why in the world would you even think of doing a six-man tag team title with a roster that's not big enough for a six-man tag team championship to even be established in. I mean, you know what's going to happen, and I'm not trying. Hear me out. I'm not trying to downplay the idea of creating a new championship to give more people an opportunity to shine. I like the idea. I mean, you got Dalton Castle and his boys, so they could be great six-man tag team champions. Maybe that's why you're doing it, or maybe that's part of the reason you're doing it. But what I'm afraid is going to happen is this world six-man tag team title is going to end up in the same pattern and going in the same direction that the WCW Women's and the WCW Women's Cruiserweight Championships went after they were established. Let me explain. When I talked about the Women's Cruiserweight title of WCW in my more recent video talking about how next year's Cruiserweight Classic will be focused on the women, you know, I basically stated that after it was all said and done, we never heard of the championship ever again. They didn't even acknowledge it. And even with the Women's World Championship, they didn't even acknowledge that until later on the following year. And the champion they were acknowledging wasn't even champion anymore, and the person that won the championship won it when it was actually deactivated. And that was the Women's World title, and that was all because WCW had this deal with the Gaia promotion, or the Gaia promotion. So, you know, to me, for Ring of Honor to do this because of the joint partnership with New Japan and possibly Mexican, some of the promotions in Mexico like CMLL and possibly AAA, it's going to hurt them in the long run, because what's going to happen is this six-man tag team title is going to end up being more defended in those countries on their shows, on their pay-per-views, than they will at Ring of Honor. The only time you're ever going to see the Ring of Honor six-man tag team titles will be at pay-per-views, maybe, and maybe an occasional taping, but most of the time I'm afraid it's going to be either defended mostly in Japan or in Mexico. Now again, I respect the fact that you want to create this championship to give other people opportunities. You want to give Dalton and his boys, his faction, opportunities. You want to create these dream teams of New Japan and Ring of Honor and Indie Stars and have them come together and compete. Give some of the newer guys, the newer talent that you debut or you give a tryout to during your prospect tournament, your yearly annual prospect tournament. You want to give them an opportunity to shine, and that's great. But right now is not the best time. If I'm Ring of Honor, I wait to expand my roster. I wait till my roster is just a little bit bigger. Then I decide I decide when I have a big enough roster to create a six-man tag team titles. Again, this right now is not the best time to do it. It's not the best time. Because what's going to happen, Sinclair Broadcasting and Ring of Honor, and Kevin Kelly, I know you're watching, is just going to blow up in your guys' face. So either you have something in store, so either you have some kind of clause in a contract or an agreement with your international wrestling promotion partners that state that the six-man tag team titles can only be defended in Ring of Honor and in the United States and in Canada, basically North America, unless you have some kind of agreement in place to make sure that happens. What I fear could happen and what I feel may happen will happen. And that is your six-man tag team titles will end up being defended mostly in Mexico and Japan, and by doing so will slowly roll into obscurity. They will slowly roll into obscurity to the point that not even you, Ring of Honor, or any other wrestling analyst, insider, whatever, will acknowledge they even existed. There is a lot of hardcore wrestling fans out there, long-time wrestling fans, that know the only reason they know about the Cruiserweight the Women's Cruiserweight Championship and the Women's World Championship of WCW is because we've been following the business. We've been fans of the business long enough. We've seen it with our own eyes actually come and happen. But there are a lot of longtime fans that didn't even know those existed. And what's going to happen here is you're going to have future fans that you're trying to establish that are young right now at heart. Then when they get older, they may not even remember there was a Ring of Honor 6-man tag team title because you're doing it at a time where it's not necessary. It's not necessary. What's more necessary is a Women of Honor championship more so than a Ring of Honor championship. And you guys watching this, the fans, the hardcore wrestling fans, the insiders, those at Ring of Honor, those at Sinclair, you guys know that's true. You know that's a fact. So if I'm you, I come out, I make the announcement that we're going to put the tournament for a 6-man tag team champion, to crown a first ever 6-man tag team champion, on hold, and we're going to focus more on the Women of Honor and let the Women of Honor compete in a tournament to crown a Women of Honor champion. That should have more priority right now than crowning your first ever Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions. And why are you doing this? Why? But because of your partnership with New Japan and the fact that New Japan has IWGP 6-man tag team champions, and then, oh, by the way, 2 of your longtime mainstays, the Briscoes, are 2/3 of those 6-man tag team champions? So what? That's not a reasoning. That's not a reasoning. And again, because of that thought process, it's going to blow up in your face. And you know it. And I'm not saying this because I don't like Ring of Honor. I love Ring of Honor. I'm glad it's around. I'm glad it gives people like Cody Rhodes, Alberto El Patron, Del Rio, if you will. I'm glad it gives them another avenue to compete in. You know, I'm glad it's allowing them to compete on another level, allowing them to be part of something big. Something different. Well, not something big, but something that's growing still, even after, 14 years in existence, 14, 15 years in existence. It's allowing them to have something to go to be part of, and even help grow even bigger. The point I'm trying to make here, folks, the point I'm trying to make, and I'm pretty sure it's been established throughout this video, and I'm going to say it, I just do not think Ring of Honor is making the right decision right now with this World 6-man tag team title. I mean, when I heard about it, I thought at first it sounded exciting, but now that I think about it, it's like, seriously? You don't even have the roster to do this for. And when one thinks about it, you're only doing it because 2 of your mainstays, the Briscoes, are 2/3 of the IWGP 6-man tag team champions? The reason New Japan is able to do it is because they have a bigger roster and they have more outreach. So, I don't know. The point I'm trying to make is, I don't think the timing's I just don't think this is the best timing. And I think honestly, if I'm Ring of Honor, I put this on hold and I put a priority more so on crowning a WOH Women of Honor champion before a 6-man tag team champion. So let me know what you guys think down below. Comment if you like. Let me know if you agree with me. And I'm out.